Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Hump day!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the week 4 Hump Day Hangout. Already 3 weeks have gone by. I'm here with very special guest, Jay Miller. What is up?
Oh, nothing much, man. Nothing much. I'm here to show up badge. I'm in the 2-minute drill. It's the only reason I'm here today.
That's what I like to hear, but let's be nice. Special shout out to one of the greatest league members the BHL has ever seen, Michael Basham. It's his birthday. Give him the night off. I think he wants to come on tomorrow. So me and him will do another little short one. Me and Jay have a little short one here for you today. It might be nice to break them up each week. We'll see how it goes. And without further ado, I'm going to set the clock and hand it over to Jay for the 2-minute drill to recap this past week's events. You ready,
All right.
Jay?
We're ready to go.
Get set, go.
Well, it was a good week today in the BHL. First off, we're going to start off by talking about me and Sterner. The score was 134-99. The big kicker for Sterner there was that Cap had -4. Terrible from your QB1. Greg Olson came out with 26, so it's nice to see him going up there. But his bench had 26 points combined. His entire bench only had 26 points. Crazy. I was led by the Red Rocket, and I'm not talking about you, Red. I'm talking about Andy freaking Dalton. Killed it. Lamar Miller, 7 points in the last 3 weeks each week. The words consistently don't even speak enough. Another interesting fact, I haven't faced a team that has played all their top 5 picks yet. Crazy. I'm 3-0. That might be why. Maybe not. Next, we're going to jump into JD and Matvey, 151-130. A-Rod carried the team, 44 points. AJ Green, 33. Absolutely crazy. Andy Dalton blew up, but Tyler Eifert didn't. He had 0 points. 0 points out of your tight end. Running back, you chose the wrong Johnson, Matvey. We talked about this already. You chose the wrong Johnson. His running backs combined had 12 points. That's not how you win weeks. You got to pick the right running backs next time. And the saddest part about that is not only is he second in the Cupcake Factory, he's second in his own house to my boy Nick Clark. Big Cat, 198-131 over Polino. He absolutely killed him. Nick Clark is the best team in the league right now, hands down. Don't even trade anybody, Nick, because your team's too daggone good. Playoff bound for the first year after 5. He's going to finish ahead of Matvey, too. Polino, you had no chance. Andre Johnson with 9 points through 3 weeks. Who would have expected that? Read on Roto World today, Andrew Luck, 7.4 QBR when throwing to Andre Johnson. Just terrible. I vote that we change the Cupcake Factory to Nick and everybody else because Nick is just running the train on everybody in that division. Next, Catco, Jeff, 152-150, nail biter. Catco, you got saved by Devontae Freeman with 39 points. Who would have thought that he would have done anything? AP's alive and well. Your running backs had 84 points this week. That's ridiculous. That's 55% of your team's points this week, Catco. Good thing you made a trade, I guess. We'll go to Jeff. He had Macklin. He gave him a little scare. He got real close there on Monday night, man. It was scary. But you played Foles over Stafford. You animal. That's the reason you lost. Stafford had 8. Foles had 4. You lost by 2. It's all your fault, man. But is Catco back on the rise after this trade? We'll talk about that. And then we have Basham against Billy, 150-106. Billy, you had no chance this week, pretty much due to Big Ben being out. Bash, you made the right QB choice again with Derek Carr and Eli over Flacco. I would have did it too. You started Nate Washington, though. Who in the world would start Nate Washington? What in the world were you thinking? Dolphins had -7, another killer to you, Billy. And for that, I'm going to vote you into the Elimination Chamber this week, and that's my 2-minute drill.
Very nice. I like tons of enthusiasm. It ran just as far over as Basham and I's, but if not more. But very good stuff. Easily beats the Birthday Boys 2-minute drill last week. And we might just have to have you on every week for the 2-minute drill. You could tell that Jay practiced quite a bit. That's what I like to hear. So let's touch on a couple things. First of all, Jay nominates Billy for the Elimination Chamber. That's what I like to hear. Big, bold move there. And that's definitely one of the biggest questions of the week is how is Billy going to move on from the loss of Big Ben?
Oh, man, I have no idea. He didn't get Vic, but, I mean, he has Alex Smith. Alex Smith is a good QB3. Don't like seeing him at QB2, but the other guys at his positions are going to have to pick it up. I mean, Keenan Allen's going to have to blow up every single week if he's not going to have Big Ben.
Yeah, that's very true. And Alex Smith looked awful in the first half last week and then just got tons of garbage time points, which is fine, but you're not going to have that every week. So
No.
I also did love the matchup between Catco and Jeff. Macklin almost came back to bite Catco.
Oh, man.
Would have been very interesting, but that was a good one, and that was kind of a season changer for both of them because one of them needed the victory desperately.
Desperately.
Yeah, and then Basham's over there talking up Kendall Wright and how great he is this year, and then he starts Nate Washington over Kendall Wright.
It was completely asinine. Kendall Wright scored 18. What's his name only had, I think, 6. I mean, but I never would have even considered that. Never would have considered starting Nate Washington.
It honestly just reinforces my thought every week, wondering if Basham actually watches any of the games. He was like flipping out about me calling DeMarco Murray slow and not explosive this season. And then he goes and, of course, trades him because, you know, he probably watched a little bit and saw the exact same thing I saw through the first 2 weeks. Already two of his first 2 picks gone for Basham. Big trade. Let's just get right into the headlines this week. I think you wrote down a couple. I wrote down a couple. And number one is Nick Clark sets a record for highest points in a week runner-up. He bumped Basham's 194. He got 198, second only to Billy's 204 in week 13 of last season. And
that's just insane. That's insane. He's been on such a tear. I'd be willing to bet that he has the most points through 3 weeks of anybody in BHL history.
I was actually thinking that I have to go back and research that if I ever find some time. You could definitely be right. He's 77 points ahead of me, who is second place in scoring. That's 25 points a week more than any other team in the league, which is just crazy.
It's ridiculous. 500 points through 3 weeks. I'm no math major, but that divides into like what, 160 a week on average?
Well, let me pull it up. It's right. I wish my video wouldn't be frozen on my face like that either. At least for me. 169. Very appropriate number for Nick Clark. I don't know why. All right,
Yeah.
Jay, what do you got, buddy?
Well, most of mine are pickups for the week, but my big one was $31 for Michael Vick. Michael Vick has the lowest QBR of anybody to attempt 200 or more passes in the past 3 seasons. Yes, I got that from Trent Dilfer, but it doesn't matter. It's still a stat. He's been a bum for the past 3 years. I mean, I don't really see that upticking unless, I don't know, I don't think Todd Haley has the offense for Michael Vick. I think he's going to get crumbled like, I don't know, like a little girl in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's in a better offense than he has been, so maybe it does get better, but I just don't see it when I watch Michael Vick, and that's a little bit scary, and $31 is so much money to spend for that kind of guy.
Just wait for Matt Vay to be stingy. He's going to be stingy in every single trade, needing, I need 2 FAB. You have to give me that 2 FAB. No, I won't do 7. I need 8.
Well, I'll say 2 things. First of all, that does come into my mind a lot, and I do think that 31 for Vic is almost as bad, if not worse, than 12 for Cole Beasley that you had earlier this season. My second thought is, what is happening to Matt Vay? He admitted openly in the group me today his trade faults, and he is finally recognizing them for what they are. And, out of his entire 5 years in the league, that one moment in time is the first time. It shows the most hope out of anything he's ever done. Any one move, any one decision. Now that he's seeing himself clearly, I'm viewing him as an on-the-rise competitor. It could really open the door for great things.
I think it's only going to make the league better, in my opinion. I love seeing Matt Vay admit to his faults. Maybe the mattress behind his desk is talking to him or something. I don't know.
I like the mattress behind the desk drop, but that couldn't have been more forced into the conversation.
Oh, yeah. I don't care.
All right. How about Polino falls to 1-2 and decides it's a good time to shake things up? it looks like he might have set himself up for a big loss this week, but he's confident enough in his roster moving forward that 1-3 wouldn't be a challenge, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I really don't think you can get too far behind because honestly, in my opinion, there's only one spot left in the Cupcake Factory. I think Nick Clark is the top of the line there. Even though it is Nick Clark, we know he's made bad trades. I think that Nick Clark's number one in that division, hands down.
It's impossible to argue with that at this point. However, if DeMarco Murray and Marshawn Lynch and Arian Foster all kind of pan out and get back to the form of years past, which, by the way, I find highly unlikely that all three of them are going to end up being top 10 running backs again. But if so, Polino's team's going to be unstoppable with Tom Brady as well. I mean, you really only need those four guys, and then anything else is gravy in terms of your roster.
Yeah.
So how about on the flip side of some of these trades, Basham really doubled down on his professed love for Todd Gurley and CJ Spiller. I think he was a little bit frustrated that he wasn't getting the return in trade negotiations for them. So maybe he decided to flip his other two guys. And I mean, he looks terrible if this does not work out. Gurley and Spiller are both in not so great offenses right now. And they're also both sharing the action with other running backs. They certainly both have potential, but he could really look like a moron making this move at 3-0.
I want to read you his starting lineup that he has in right now. Joe Flacco and Derek Carr. Derek Carr's on the upside, but I would never feel comfortable starting Joe Flacco and Derek Carr at my quarterback spots. His running backs this week, Danny Woodhead, Carlos Hyde, and Alfred Blue. Don't get me started on Alfred Blue. You paid $15 for him, and he might not even play this week. He might not play the rest of the year, and you put 15 fab on him, Bash. Come on now, man. I know it's your birthday, but I ain't cutting you slack on that. His wide receivers look pretty studly, I won't lie. But I don't know. I just don't see it. I feel like he almost made too many moves.
I'm just wondering, I don't know. He really is on both sides of the line for everything this season. Receivers don't matter. And then, I'm going to give up my first 2-round picks just so I can get Odell Beckham. Speaking of running backs on terrible offenses, Carlos Hyde is on one of the worst offenses in the league, potentially. Yeah. Talk about a team that's going to need garbage points. Reggie Bush is going to come back healthy and steal a lot of that passing down work. I think Basham just got way too into himself and his team on this one, maybe a little bit of overconfidence. And this is what got him in trouble in years past when he had those 2 terrible losing seasons in a row. Yes, his quarterbacks can put up points any week, but so can any quarterback. It's all about the consistency. I just don't know if it's going to come together. It's certainly a dangerous team. I don't know if it's a playoff team.
No, and it's hard to make a case for a playoff team when you have Joe Flacco as your QB1.
Well, Eli's in there as well, but you know what? He doubled down on Eli by also acquiring Odell Beckham. What a turn of events from when he was ridiculing me last season when I drafted Eli, who panned out very nicely. So just very questionable, I think, and I'm curious to see him explain himself tomorrow.
Oh, I'm pretty excited. Hopefully he isn't too hungover to explain himself.
Once again, happy birthday to my world's greatest co-host, Michael Basham. What else do you have there, Jay?
Well, I have another part is, teams going on bye this week. It's week 4. The Patriots are on bye. Polino, you don't have Tom Brady, and you just traded away Andrew Luck. I mean, you're really digging yourself a hole. Didn't you just trade for LeGarrette Blount, too? I mean, that's a running back who isn't playing this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to miss Gronkowski a lot this week. I was excited to pick up Delaney Walker at tight end until I realized that he, too, was on a bye. So Polino basically did take a loss this week. So it's very interesting that he's okay with going down 0-3. I don't mind the move at all. It's a bold move that I feel like I would make as long as I thought my team was going to be better in the long run. He's getting his bye weeks out of the way early, which is also fine. So I don't know. His team's going to be definitely very interesting at 1-3, seeing if maybe a Matvey or a Katko can kind of jump ahead of him and hold him off.
Well, that's who he has this week is Katko. Katko's going to jump to 2-2 if with a win. I mean, you're
Right.
putting an owner who is very, active. He talks trade every day. I mean, I wouldn't want to put him in front of me.
I also wouldn't want to give him Andrew Luck.
No.
Not that Luck has looked good at all this season. He's looked awful.
But he's Andrew Luck.
No, I realize. I'm sure he's going to turn it around, but he's not the number one fantasy quarterback you picked.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. How about Sterner getting really fired up? We sent him to the Elimination Chamber. He told us on GroupMe he's going to be he was the first one out, first one to prove us wrong or something like that. Well, he proved us right this week by getting the low score, the only person under 100 points. Then, he continued his temper tantrum, railing on the power rankings, which I like to see, and then calling out Matvey in the GroupMe. Do we think the pressure is getting to Sterner in his sophomore season?
I don't think so. I don't think the pressure's getting to him. I just think that he's upset by his, slow start. I'm sure he expected to do a lot better. I mean, I practically drafted his team last year. I drafted his team. But he's really missing – he missed Drew Brees last week heavily. The old Drew Brees, he's missing him this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was so excited about Kaepernick in week 2, and then Kaepernick really let him down in week 1 or week 3 rather.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'll do one of mine. One of the best pickups in the week for me was by you, JD. You got Charles Clay for $1. I mean, you look at ESPN, you look at any of these sites, and it looks like Charles Clay's the play this week. There's not going to be any Shady McCoy. There's not going to be any, Sammy Watkins might not play this week. And I just think he's going to be a target monster this week in that Rex Ryan offense.
I really hope so. And I saw when Polino dropped, I think he dropped Eric Ebron ahead of time for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, Polino's going to pick up a tight end. And then I looked and I said, well, the only one I want's Charles Clay, and he probably wants him too. So I had $0, but I needed a tight end this week. I want to get the W, jump out to 3-1. So I figured $1 was a safe investment. And he pairs up with Tyrod. That's why I liked him the most, because if I'm going to start Tyrod, I want to have that double touchdown upside. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
After you compliment me, I feel bad trotting this one out. But, Jay, you already have 2 bottom 5 wins this year. What a scumbag move. Are you trying to be Basham?
I'm not trying to be Basham. I will back that up by saying I am the 5th highest scoring person. So, therefore, it's kind of, that's all I can say.
Yeah. So to follow that up, you are second in quarterback points and second in running back points. It's just that your other positions are like last. So that's where you really want to be, though, is second in quarterback and running back points. Those are the 2 most important ones. The rest you can kind of figure out. So I think your team's still set up okay despite the bottom 5 wins. And also, just a crazy stat. This is your 3rd year in the league. You have a winning percentage of 59%. Pretty good. But you have a top 5 score percentage of 41.38%.
Wow.
That is a huge gap because they really, over time, should be the same.
Yeah.
Because if you get in the top 5, you should win. If you get in the bottom 5, you should lose. And it kind of evens out over time. But yours that's an 18-point gap, 18% gap. You've had a lot of bottom 5 wins.
Yeah, I can't really explain that one. I mean, if it wasn't for the Jeremy Maclin blow up, I guess I would have been top 5. But I guess I'll take them any way I can get them.
Here's my way to explain it. You have had so many high scores that those are like guaranteed victories. So that's even better than a top a top 5 score doesn't guarantee you a win, but when you get the top score like you have so often, that's a guaranteed win. So you just haven't had a lot of top 5 losses to even it out.
Yeah, I can definitely see you there. Going off of that, though, talking about top 5 scores, the top 5 scores haven't came from where we thought they were going to come from. I mean, we thought that the Gauntlet was going to be this absolutely dominant division. Nick Clark and Matt Vey have been holding down the fort at the top score the first 2 weeks. I mean, did you ever expect that coming into the year?
Not really, but I think we looked at the Gauntlet as a team that was going to or a division that was going to eat itself alive. And the Cupcake Factory is a division where people were going to emerge as competitors, but it was just going to be, they'd maybe run away with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I still think it's going to end up that way, although Billy's team taking a hit and Sterner's team not looking so hot really kind of makes it even again. Usually when we talk about divisions and who's tougher in the preseason, it almost never pans out the way we think. They're always way closer than you expect.
Yeah.
Or tend to be. I have one more little speed round / headlines thing. Jeff is on a 6-game losing streak stretching back to last season.
Wow.
The runner-up for worst record is Nick Clark with 8. So Jeff is in serious danger of getting his name into the record books. The record is 12 by Nate Rigotti, who played only 1 season and did not win until week 13. To finish 1-12. So I think Jeff is safe in that regard. His team doesn't look that bad, but a little bit of pressure is getting on Jeff here. He doesn't want to end up being the worst team in the league in his second season.
No, by no means does he want to be the worst team in the league, and I think he needs to make a serious move if he wants to get out of that gutter, and he can still compete in that division, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too. So I think we want to end things here by just quickly looking at the divisions, the playoff picture, and we had an interesting discussion before we started, and that is, do you think Nick Clark's team is the clear favorite to win the Cupcake Factory and possibly to come in first in the league by the end of the regular season?
I think so. I really think that Nick Clark is for real this year. I think there's no stopping Nick, honestly. I mean, the only way I think Nick will get stopped is if he makes a stupid boneheaded trade like he has in years past. But I think, 6 times the charm or 5th time's the charm. He might not do that this year.
Yeah, you were mentioning that it's dangerous living with Matt Vey because Nick Clark really seems to defer to Matt Vey for advice, you seem to indicate. And Nick, I just want to tell you one thing. Why are you taking advice from Matt Vey? What has he ever done in this league that would give you confidence to get advice from him? Just stay the course with the squad you got. I mean, maybe you need to make a move, maybe you don't. But I certainly wouldn't be asking Matt Vey for advice. And from the sounds of it, I wouldn't be asking that Kramer kid either, because it sounds like he makes even worse trades.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, his trades are bad. Oh, my gosh.
So I'm not sold on Nick Clark being first overall at the end of the regular season. No offense, buddy. I try to put my faith in you as much as possible, but you're still Nick Clark. You still have one of the worst track records in BHL history, and I'm confident that you're turning it around. But first place is a lot of faith to put on your shoulders at this point. Some managerial decisions still need to be made, and while they've been strong so far, I can't quite get on the same page as Jay.
Well, I'm gonna try to persuade you onto that page.
All right, go ahead.
All right, we're gonna talk about who he has starting right now. Steve Smith Sr., Julio Jones, Amari Cooper at wide receiver. Next best guy on the bench is Vincent Jackson, maybe Percy Harvin. You have Dante Moncrief too. I mean, I think that his starting lineup, those guys are guys that you have to play every single week. Even over Dante Moncrief, as he's been doing better, maybe with the emergence of luck, maybe he goes up. But I feel like that's not a really difficult decision there. That's what I like about Nick Clark's team. He hasn't really set himself up with a bunch of difficult decisions, but he has solid guys on the bench that you can start during bye weeks.
Yeah, Nick Clark's bench is awesome. I mean, I'm not looking at a clear-cut running back 3 or running back. Yeah, and I think maybe Joseph Randall, you get concerned that he loses carries to someone by the end of the season. But he looks fine. I think Ingram, you get a little concerned now that Spiller's coming back, but I think he's going to be fine. Steve Smith really started out hot last year. Not quite to this degree, but he was really good last year at the beginning of the season. And then he really fizzled out. He's 35 years old. He also has many injuries over his career. Gio Bernard's not going to always give him that production if Jeremy Hill can get back on track. So I don't know. His quarterback trio is awesome, though. I know Teddy doesn't light up any score boxes, but I mean, he's a good quarterback 3. Palmer was a steal and a half. I'm very jealous of that pick.
Matt Jones. Matt Jones.
Yeah, Matt Jones is very good.
That's a pick that in the past 5 years, Nick Clark never would have made until this year. Going after a guy with some potential, some upside. Matt Jones, I like Matt Jones, even though I have Alfred Morris, but I like Matt Jones as a running back on your bench that you stash.
You're absolutely right. That's a pick that you never see Nick Clark make. I don't know if I've ever been like, wow, Nick Clark, what a genius maneuver. I'm jealous of that. But that's one of them right there. And the thing I'm most upset about this year is I'm not going to be able to steal Nick Clark's top receiver in a trade. I think I've gotten Demaryius Thomas off of him once, maybe Julio Jones once. But Nick Clark, if you break up the Matt Ryan, Julio Jones combo right now, you are an imbecile because that is just winning. Julio Jones is hands down the best receiver in the league right now. I don't think Antonio Brown even holds a candle to what Julio Jones does out there each week. He is amazing.
It's incredible. He is hands down, now that he's healthy, he's hands down the best receiver in the league.
I think so too. And Antonio Brown might be a better fantasy receiver in the long run, but Julio Jones is the funnest to watch by far. Nick Clark's team, it does look unstoppable over time. I think in any given week it could be beaten, but this is the thing he's never had, consistency. And he has a very consistent roster. I like him to make the playoffs, and from there we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely I'm putting him in my playoff position. JD, who else would you add from that division into the playoffs? Now that we're here in week 4, you've seen 3 weeks go down. Who else would you put in there?
I think I have to put in Polino. We just talked about how he's making some bold decisions, could end up 1-3, probably will. But if he comes out of this with 2 of those running backs being top 10 options, which is pretty possible, and he has Tom Brady, who looks like he's on pace to shatter records, and it looks like he is pissed off. I sure hope so, since I have Gronk and he can feed off of that. But I just think Polino has a lot of great pieces, and even if his team isn't quite as deep or well-rounded as it was before the deals, and they don't have the 2 quarterback monster anymore, I still think Polino's the one to beat. Although I'm encouraged by Catco, and I think Matt Vay's team still deserves to be in the conversation for sure.
So you're completely writing off Jeff?
I just don't think he's up there with the other guys, that's all.
All right, okay.
Who do you think?
I put my money on Matt Vay earlier, and I don't know. It seems like he's a new person. Aaron just seems like a new person. What he's been saying in the group me, I think this is his year that he makes playoffs, even though he's going to be second in the division behind his roommate, Nick Clark.
And Nick Clark, don't fall for any of his shenanigans, because Matt Vay is nervous, and he's going to get into your head. Nick Clark might be the only person that doesn't watch the talk show, too, so I'm talking to nobody here. Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Matt Vay will definitely watch, and he'll put a negative spin on everything positive we said about Nick Clark today.
That's so true. He'll give him the synopsis. Your team sucks, they said. All right, I have one final thought. Are Billy's struggles this season due to him not actually naming his team? That's just bad karma. I'm going to stick by it, and that's why Big Ben got hurt.
I didn't even know that you gave him his team name until last week on the talk show. I had no idea that you gave him his team name. It seems like I don't know where Bill is. I mean, Billy, if you're out there, I mean, David, whichever cable you are, that's who you're acting like is Dave when it comes to fantasy football. I mean, get your head out of your ass, Bill. We need you back. Please.
I can promise you that Billy's still paying much attention. I saw him this weekend. I just think he's too lazy to pick a team name, and I don't know. He's got to be a little down on his team, but I hope he changes up the name, bounces back, and makes a run for it. I gave everybody a placeholder team name when I released the draft things just because I was tired of looking at the old ones. And yeah, everyone else changed theirs except for Billy.
No, I didn't change mine. Aaron changed mine.
That's true. Aaron did change yours. And so far, so good. It's really been a good luck charm. And I'm curious to see if you win this year, if you keep it for next season.
I haven't even thought about it yet. Haven't even thought about it.
All right, that wraps it up for me. Any final thoughts?
No final thoughts from me, really. Good luck to everybody. Hopefully people stay healthy and keep the trades coming. It's awesome seeing everybody trade now. We kind of waited until after week 3 this year. So, I mean, I think it's going to pick up a lot here within the next coming weeks.
Yeah, the floodgates are definitely open. A lot of people are nervous, including Basham. Like I said last week, I thought deep down he wasn't happy with the squad. And it's been great. It was a great 2-minute drill. Thanks for joining us, Jay. And let's get somebody new next week. Let's get a Polino. Let's get a Jeff. Maybe a Catco. Maybe Sterner wants to come back and air his grievances. I would love to hear that.
That'd be a good one. That's who I would suggest. Sterner, get on the show.
Yeah, so whoever wants to come on, reach out to me. Maybe we'll split it in 2 like we're going to do this week, hopefully. And, yeah, let's see you guys on. You don't have to do the 2-minute drill if you don't want to. It's going to be tough to top that one. But thanks again. Good luck. Hopefully me and Basham will be back tomorrow.